are few things in life more rewarding than watching Godzilla's greatest enemies fight to the death. Both King Ghidorah and SpaceGodzilla, the titular monsters, not only have the power to destroy the world, they're strong enough to rival the likes of Godzilla. I mean, it's all there on the tin. As soon as King Ghidorah lands, SpaceGodzilla's gravity tornado blasts the three-headed monster into a skyscraper. We're given introductions that are short and sweet. In this corner is the dreaded three-headed monster, King Ghidorah. Challenging him for complete dominion over all is SpaceGodzilla, the Crystal King. King Ghidorah bombards SpaceGodzilla with a gravity beam onslaught. Both evil titans disappear beneath the ocean waves. Okay, so don't worry, that's only a preview of the amazing fight that is still to come, and it does not disappoint. Let me say right now, the human element in this story is amazing. I know that might sound hard to believe. Humans in Godzilla stories are usually a hit or a miss, but these characters make this story special. We meet Ryuichi and Benton, two men on a mission, and they're walking through what looks like a war zone. They've arrived on Musashi Island, which is regularly besieged by SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah. Musashi Island sounds a lot like braving a trip to Chernobyl. Here, the best case scenario is finding everything dead and getting crushed by a falling building. Foreshadowing? I know, many of you are wondering what's the worst case scenario. Oh, it's just getting exposed to high levels of radiation. Hey, I mean, it was fine for Godzilla. It'd be fine for us, right? So why are these two men risking their lives? It's because Ryuichi is searching for his father. He suspects his father's testing facility is located somewhere on the island, likely in the underground subway station. Now, Musashi Island is a fascinating concept. It mysteriously appeared in the wake of a massive kaiju battle. It's not every day you discover an island created by the tectonic displacement of kaiju. And given the ominous crystals, it's a safe bet that SpaceGodzilla was responsible. So those in the know, like yours truly, a renowned SpaceGodzilla expert, we all know all about SpaceGodzilla's special origin. He's a mutated Godzilla clone from space. But he's more than that. He's like a chimera, a being composed of Godzilla cells that bonded with an unknown crystallized organism inside a black hole. But in this comic, Benton warns that touching SpaceGodzilla's crystals might expose you to different types of radiation or antimatter black hole energy. SpaceGodzilla has a vast array of powers and abilities, and again, it's funny. I can't say that with a straight face because it's such an understatement. So adding antimatter black hole energy is a new one. Benton asks Ryuichi a reasonable question. He notes that Ryuichi and his father have a strange relationship, so it's unusual that they're risking their lives for him. This is reinforced when we learn why Ryuichi isn't on the best terms with his father. And guys, viewer discretion advised because this is intense. Many years ago, King Ghidorah was wreaking havoc. At the time, Ryuichi was a boy looking after his younger sister, Yuriko. He saw King Ghidorah on the evening news again and told his dad. His dad is not only aware, he's motivated to do something about it. But he can't run his experiment with his children nearby. He instructs Ryuichi to take his sister to the train station where they will go to stay with their aunt. The caveat is he won't be there to accompany them. Later, Ryuichi and Yuriko are waiting for the train to come. Instead, a three-headed monster pulls into the station, and by pulls, I mean it smashes its way in, shooting gravity beams at the people trying to get away. Ryuichi and Yuriko run for their lives, but a stray gravity beam completely vaporizes the little girl. A completely traumatized Ryuichi looks at the crater, holding his little sister's severed arm. Yikes. No doubt just, having a flashback. Ryuichi spared Benton all of that tragic backstory by just responding back with it's complicated. Yep, he's right. The two continue their search. The pair make it to the subway station deep underground. To their surprise, they find a hospital ward. Ryuichi and Benton are initially mistaken for being military reps, which means the health staff and their patients are going home, right? Right? Regardless, they're drafted into saving people. Poor Ryuichi tries saving a poor woman from bleeding to death. Yeah, our boy's PTSD isn't getting better anytime soon. Later, our heroes share their intentions. Since everyone's trapped in a demilitarized zone, the likelihood of being rescued isn't looking good. But that's not the worst news. The worst news is SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah will be making landfall within the next 12 hours. I mean, bad news for them, but for us, the reader, this is great. What could go wrong? Ryuichi holds up a picture of his old man. It's then the hospital staff get a little uncomfortable, which is saying something given how they've kept it together in light of all the doom and gloom. At first, Ryuichi wonders if his dad is dead. That's when the doctor they've been helping gives the perfect response. I'm not sure that man was ever alive. Reluctantly, the doctor points Ryuichi and Benton in the right direction. A few pages later, Ryuichi has a gun pointed at his face. Fortunately, this kaiju-dominated world has gun control in the guise of Ryuichi's father, Takeo Omari. Ryuichi is so shocked to see him, he even says, "You're alive," and to which his grimdark father responds, "My son, I haven't been alive for a very long time." Whew. Shortly thereafter, Ryuichi's trying to get his dad to leave, but he refuses because he's contracted to a militia group called Aegis. Right before he starts monologuing, he makes the mistake of calling King Ghidorah by his name. Yeah, so what ensues is a very interesting dialogue that I'm surprised has never been talked about much. Ryuichi is pissed off that his father keeps calling Ghidorah King, despite the monster having, unalived his sister. Ryuichi keeps venting, questioning Omari's morality and his obsession with kaiju. Why does it feel like I'm being called out? Finally declaring that if he doesn't leave right now, they are all going to die. But just like how when your friends ask you to stop obsessing over Godzilla, you don't. Omari reveals he's discovered an ambient frequency hidden within one of SpaceGodzilla's crystals that could power the eastern seaboard of the United States for 2 years. Omari believes that this could lead to a technological breakthrough, and within the next decade, the entire world could become energy dependent. Yeah, Ryuichi's not buying it. He tells his father how he feels. He thought he could talk sense into him, but he sees now it's hopeless. Right as he leaves, Omari's subdued humanity surfaces. He tells his son how much he misses her, Ryuichi's sister, and wishes it had been his life Ghidorah had taken that day. Because of his cowardice, they are all alone. It's then Ryuichi reveals a game-changing fact, and I love it. He's not alone. He has a wife and a son. Omari believes it's too late, but his expression, it suggests otherwise. Suddenly the room shakes. SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah have returned, hours ahead of schedule. Ryuichi questions whether his father is coming with him or not. Omari wants to know his grandson's name, to which Ryuichi gives a masterclass response. "I'll tell you when we're off this godforsaken rock." At long last, the fight we've all been waiting for. Brace for impact. SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah emerge out of the sea, tearing into each other, with SpaceGodzilla literally shredding into one of Ghidorah's necks with his teeth. The Crystal King follows this up by slashing the three-headed Hydra, but it looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Ghidorah rips what looks like a Titan-sized bacon strip off SpaceGodzilla's neck. Ghidorah blasts SpaceGodzilla into a skyscraper, and as the building falls, SpaceGodzilla grabs a hold of it, and I gotta say, I love the art style. SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah's designs here look like they were inspired by the Trendmasters Godzilla toy line from the 90s. My bread and butter. As I'm sure many of you who grew up playing with their Godzilla toys would attest, the way the monsters fight in this comic, it's like a play-by-play of our toy choreography. That's right, toy choreography. You heard it from here first. SpaceGodzilla launches the skyscraper like a 100-meter projectile. It hits Ghidorah so hard, the comic transitions back over to the humans. Ryuichi, Omari, and Benton are the only ones who make it out alive. Everyone else is crushed by falling rubble. Hey, that's the best case scenario that was alluded to earlier. That's a win, right? Ryuichi is absolutely devastated, but his dad is there to encourage him to keep going. Meanwhile, King Ghidorah is getting his second wind. His humongous wings generate powerful gusts of wind, tearing buildings from their foundations. But Ghidorah isn't finished. No. He calls down the storm, blasting SpaceGodzilla with searing hot lightning bolts. Yeah, and that's when SpaceGodzilla really begins to cut loose, activating his gravity tornado. SpaceGodzilla levitates dozens of buildings and launches them at King Ghidorah. The three-headed monster suddenly finds himself being shot at by the kaiju equivalent to thousands of bullets. And it's such an awesome shot. I mean, look at it. Look at this. Oh my god. Ryuichi believes they have no way of getting away. But then he sees King Ghidorah falling in battle. His dad tells him to run. Ryuichi, however, has that look in his eyes. No, he wants to see Ghidorah die, and one might say what happens next is therapeutic. Ghidorah slams into the earth like it's the like button. The entire island shakes from the impact. Ryuichi and Omari run for their lives as a cloud of death chases them. SpaceGodzilla towers above a crater-ridden Ghidorah, roaring in victory. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking, fight's over, right? Wrong. See, SpaceGodzilla won the first round, but his victory cry attracted someone else's attention, a new challenger. Sure, the comic is called King Ghidorah vs. SpaceGodzilla, but hey, they're Godzilla's rivals after all. That's right, the king of the monsters has entered the chat, and he looks yoked. Straight up atomic fuel. Mothra be thy name, this is one of the best Godzilla entrances in a comic book. SpaceGodzilla and King Ghidorah stare each other down. Ghidorah quickly closes the distance and wraps SpaceGodzilla up with his mini neck, strangling and electrocuting the Crystal King. Ryuichi asks his father if he's fine. His father is alive and kicking. So's Benton, but he doesn't seem to matter anymore, which he even jokingly laments. SpaceGodzilla and Ghidorah crashes the party. Ryuichi is not happy to see Ghidorah. Through gritted teeth, he even calls him King Ghidorah. Right before the evil monsters trample our heroes, Godzilla comes in like a nuclear-charged wrecking ball. And we're gifted to another epic shot. It's perfect. Summoning his atomic power, Godzilla fires his heat ray and sends King Ghidorah hurtling through the air. SpaceGodzilla charges up his primary attack too, and for a brief moment, Godzilla and SpaceGodzilla join forces by banishing Ghidorah to the bottom of the ocean. But their alliance, it's short-lived, which is a bummer because I'd love to see these two join forces more than just a few panels. I want like an entire arc of these two rivals, these two characters who just hate each other, begrudgingly working together because, their survival depends on it. Godzilla and SpaceGodzilla shoot their beams at each other, giving us a good old-fashioned kaiju beam war. Amidst this chaos, the humans are wondering how they're going to escape alive. Godzilla's jaws crunch down on SpaceGodzilla's neck. The king of the monsters doesn't relent. He tears off one of SpaceGodzilla's shoulder crystals. Holy moly. SpaceGodzilla retaliates with a thunderous slap to Godzilla's perfectly smug, handsome face. SpaceGodzilla tackles his namesake down to the crystal-infested ground. SpaceGodzilla tries shoving Godzilla's face first into the crystals. Remembering he has God in his name, Godzilla overpowers his cosmic doppelganger and blasts him back. The battle between the dueling Godzillas destabilizes the island. Entire city blocks splinter, coughing up rivers of lava. SpaceGodzilla falls into the molten core of the island he created. Godzilla's heat ray blasts the Crystal King 600 feet under the searing hot lava, winning the battle. Helicopters swoop in to save the humans. It's honestly nice to see Benton among the living. Good job, Benton. I knew you could do it, man. Later, Ryuichi and Omari watch Godzilla return to the sea. I love imagery like this. After an intense fight for their lives, Godzilla and Ryuichi leave Musashi Island, the embodiment of their respective struggles, behind. The duality and symbolism are on full display in this fantastic work of art. Easily the most rewarding moment, though, comes in the end. The prospect of reuniting with his family seems to make Omari thankful to be alive. Seeing this, Ryuichi tearfully tells his father, "Your grandson's name is Goro." To which Omari happily responds, "I'm thankful to be alive for my grandson, Goro." Oh man, on a checklist order of awesome, this comic had everything checked off. From high-octane battles between terrifying monsters to relatable characters. Characters we were rooting for every step of the way. Godzilla Rivals King Ghidorah vs. SpaceGodzilla is one of the best kaiju comics I've ever had the pleasure of reading. And it's the perfect way to end this otherwise fantastic Godzilla Rivals series. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. What did you think of the story? Do you have any favorite moments? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'm Tom here at Kaijutopia. Feel free to stomp by anytime.